the Ethical Fashion Festival. Today I'm here with the amazing Adriana Marina, who is the co-founder of Hechos, Nosostros, an NGO that has consultative status at the United Nations. She is also the founder of Animana. She is an Ashoka Fellow, a Cordis Fellow. She has partnerships with Bee Women, many UN agencies, and also she's recently taken part in the Ashoka Globalizer. There are many accolades that go with her, but I'm so happy to have her here to share her experiences and her work that she does all over the world. So hi, Adriana.
Hello. Well, congratulations for this space, the Ethical Fashion Festival. So important to create spaces alive and to give voices to many actors that are collaborating in this challenge that is to go for a more ethical and sustainable fashion industry. So I'm very happy of sharing our experience and our way, and welcome all to be part. And well, so happy to be with you, Trish, that I admire so much, and that by now you are a big part of our family as well. So thank you so much. And well, thank you to Rita for all the organization. Well, let's go for going a trip around across Animana and Hechos por Nosotros, a long story, a lot of experiences to share.
Yeah. So do we want to start with an overview? I know you have a film to share and many things, so.
Yeah, we can share the video so we see the spirit of Animana a little bit.
Okay, one moment. We'll hit play here.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Well, makes me make a trip among so many nice people and artisans and products and stories. And well, this is the work we constructed. Well, I will go for the beginning of Animana Hecho por Nosotros. I was born in Patagonia, in the south of Argentina, surrounded by that shapes, the guanacos, that are part of the camelids family, as the alpaca, llamas, and vicuñas. And this huge nature and environment is where I contact with sustainability. Sustainability are the laws of nature, of earth, and from there on, as I grew up, I went to the city. I was always very disturbed how we relate with each other and with nature, no? And well, now I have a lot of fears, but all that is part of my everyday life, and my upset how we are losing natural resources, biodiversity, cultural matters that I think are a heritage for humanity, are the only luxury we have nowadays. So with this in mind is that I study so many things and I look for ways in order to make it happen and to see how to give value added to local people, local resources, natural fibers, artisans, communities, micro, small, medium firms. For me, it's so hard to see how rural areas and people that they have all these stories and this treasure, they have to leave to cities, and we lost all this knowledge, wisdom, yes? And all the time I ask myself why it's so difficult to make a bridge among them, to network them, to make them stronger at the market. And as years goes by, this system that is very far from people, from natural resources of caring, no? I think we are in a real inflexive point. Yes, we have to think that it is now the time to wake up and to look for solutions. So I have been around in many ways, but 11 years ago I decided to leave all my professional life and business and academics around the world and concentrate in this hard task to make it happen. And so with Animana, working with artisans and micro, small, medium firms all across the Andes, in Argentina, in Peru, and Bolivia, also in Mexico, I learned a lot, we learned a lot around local problems, bottlenecks, and what happens, why this is, you find poverty, you find limitations locally, and we see how year by year, all these ancestral techniques are being lost, and also the sustainable practices among taking care of animals on crops, and also how the environment is being damaged everywhere, no? So nowadays we are living a big voice, a message from nature that is explaining us that we are not doing things right. And I think this is the main point in this moment. We have to listen to this message and to understand that we are not so important as we believe.
Yeah.
in the way we are behaving, because I think we are very important. We are creation, we are a spirit, we have so many capacities, but we are not employing them in the good way because we forgot we are natural and we are part of this cycle and we are part of this earth. So I will try to silenciar. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Well, in this long trip is that with Hechos por Nosotros, hand by hand, what we did is learn from local problems and create solutions. And co-create solutions, because Hechos por Nosotros is a collaborative framework of a lot of students, professionals, people around the world that jointly we get in touch to local problems, to micro, small, medium firms, to all this system in the fashion, and we look together for solutions. And these solutions are growing, 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 and we are very excited about that. So if you want, I can share.
Yes, that would be great to see, let them see what you do, which is amazing.
Thank you, Trish. So Where is it?
Yeah.
Share. Present. Well, here we are in the festival. We all know the huge problems. Do not lose time on this. and well, I want all to invite to drink together. Now, like what happens if we reimagine a fashion and textile industry where all the advances, all the knowledge is applied in order to empower local businesses, to give place to the knowledge and the wisdom of local people, of artisans, to fertilize the micro, small, medium firms that they are often very weak, often very marginalized in the global fashion economy. And validating their wisdom, sustainable techniques, processes, and natural fibers, contributing to an inclusive model based on sustainability, circularity, and co-creation. So this is our dream at Animana and Hechos por Nosotros, and I invite all to be part and to construct together. This should be done in collaboration across all the areas, all professionals, all firms, big, small, fast fashion, consumers, branding. All together, we need to dream another industry in order to make it happen. So, well, this is our universe. I think we know that natural fibers, the techniques of the communities are the root of this industry, yes? The industry we have is an invention, but the real root where we learned and where begins everything is here. So now that we see we have to go for regenerative methods, we have to cure our world, our system. I think it's very important to pay attention the way that communities, they behave and how they relate with natural fibers, with their resources, how they manage these resources, to have a respect for their techniques, all this iconography that they have that is so inspiring. Well, I think that from there we can learn a way of working, and this can be traduced in business, no? And in that dialogue among them and all the technology and the resources and the design and the branding, and I think we are giving a really strong message. A strong message because if we can make a brand working with these kind of providers, making them part of the industry and fertilizing them, I think that if Animana can have a space in the market, it's like all the industry can transform in better practices, yes? And this respect of the methods, the way of relating, and the caring of all the processes and the resources should be part of the industry, adapted to the way, the products they do, yes? Well, I would like to give a quick trip so then we can dialogue with Trish, but when I am an economist, or when I study economy and other things, but when I began to this industry was with a cost, yes? So for me, natural fibers and what happens in that market and how they relate with other parts of the value chain was a central point. And camelids that are near my story of life and near in Latin America, if we think the camelids are the finest fibers of the world, we have the vicuña and guanaco as the finest fibers. Then we have the alpacas and llama that can be very similar to cashmere. And when you go to producers and communities, they are very poor. And they are very fragmented from the other steps of the industry. And so they are pushed to not caring properly their animals, their environment. And these local problems are the global problems that, for me, this alarm was for many, many years. Now the voice is stronger for all, no? And we have to take notice of this. Nature is very, is smart, much more than us. Yeah. So they exist for something, and they have a place, and they have this global ecosystem. We have to think it globally, and today we understand we are globally, but nature is very, very smart. So how we empower and how we make better local programs where all these good practices are enhanced. So this is in the core of Animana, of course, where we work with these natural fibers, artisans, and micro, small, medium firms, and also at Hechos por Nosotros, where we understand good practices and how to scale them up in order that not just camelid, but wool, like merino wool from Patagonia, cotton, and other vegetable fibers can be a force for good for local people and for environment, and giving global solutions. This design as a tool of development, so important, I see in all these years. And if we think Argentina, Buenos Aires is a city of design, and the designers are not in contact with our natural fibers. When I began, many of the schools or students from the school, they didn't know about camellids, they didn't know about our artisans and their processes. And I noticed how designers that are main actors of this industry are very disconnected from the value chain, from local cultural issues, identities, that can be the treasure they can have to share a voice and to get inspired to give a particular voice to the world, no? But I see how they are in the school more ready to copy the North designs, or trying to be similar to. So this area of design as a tool for local development, for improvement, for development, for value added, and to enrich our world, no? Because when you go to Peru, to Argentina, to Bolivia, to Mexico, there are such beautiful things, ways of presenting textiles, of weaving, of dyeing. It's impressionant, no? For example, Animana is a party of textiles because gathering so many areas from the Andes, you have different aspects of the way the community they relate with their own fiber, how they spin it, their handloom, how they present and use the natural colors that are in their vision, and also how imagine their dresses, their blankets, their ornaments, no? So much to share, to inspire, and to make a bridge among them and the modern life. And well, this was the trip, is the trip of Animana. And well, to do this is not easy. It takes a lot of time and effort. I think that nowadays more and more communities are in a dynamic of receiving. Also, we have done a lot of work in many of them, and the information it's like flows so quickly among them. So it's very important to make efforts. For example, here a designer from France in an UNESCO project comes to work with me for 1 year in many communities of Argentina and Peru, and we did so beautiful things, and all the communities stay in totally another state, no? So important to give the opportunity to designers to be a part of this systemic change we need, and to give them the opportunity to be much more creative, yes, in the way they use and employ their tools. And we can see at Hecho por Nosotros so many designers around the world coming in order to contact with communities, to see how they can be part of this systemic change. So this capacity building and training that we exercise for this more 11 years with Animana, but from before, now we would like to share at universities of designers. We are doing this. We have done this in many parts of the world, because one theme around design is that part of Animana is Dominique Peclers, the founder of Peclers Paris, that she is with me since the very beginning. We did a huge trip across the communities, and she gave master classes to thousands of artisans in this trip, and also then prepare designers as the one that is in the picture before coming to the communities in order to be ready and prepared to be part of this capacity building and training we need to do with the communities. And by now, technology also gives us the opportunity to be a lot much connected, and a lot of opportunities to continue training by WhatsApp, Facebook, and Zoom, and etc. So we have now lot of open roads in order to make this happen at a huge scale, and that many designers and the school can be working and in contact with communities. And well, the commercialization is a huge part, very hard, mostly when you create a brand that is creating its producers, its provider, fertilizing them, and etc. And we have a huge experience with wholesale, with final consumers. We had a boutique for 5 years in Paris, in Buenos Aires. We have online, and also Hecho por Nosotros created like ethical fashion forums in Latin America, joining forces among many local designers, and all this is growing now with new tools that we will talk after with Trish. And the other part so important is the awareness of consumers, of policymakers, of international institutions, that this complex fashion we have industry of the textile and the fashion also is very hard for policymakers, for academics to understand, of course, for consumers. And so we are all like being part and a big part of this fashion. It's not the industry in front, but we are all part. So important when we got information and tools and make all this laboratory of resources to share with academics, with international agencies. And well, Hechos por Nosotros is part of United Nations with the COSOC, and this gives us the opportunity to be talking hand by hand with ITC, with World Economic Forum, with so many UNCTAD, UNIDO, and working with them, collaborating and creating bridges among local problems and these spaces. And the most important in awareness are we, the consumer. The consumers will be the change, the way we together can go for another system. Will not be the same system that will make the change. And I see nowadays how many projects that they are part of the problem, talk all the time about the solution and grow, but the thing is that the problem continue to grow, and we are in a very difficult moment as a society, and we have to be strong in order to transform this fashion industry in a force for good. So if you want, we can dialogue. Please.
Yeah, it would be great to dig deeper. Fantastic.
And then if you want,
have to dig deeper with you. Yeah. So So as you were saying, lots of people, I'm a teacher, an educator, they don't even know what camelids are. And then when you present natural fibers as a viable product to bigger brands, they often don't know much about it either. So do you think natural fibers like camelibs and natural materials are kind of the future of sustainability, or are they part of it? Because there are other systems out there like zero waste and, how do you think natural fibers fit in?
Well, I think that they should be main part for all of us also, because if we want to go for a systemic change, we have to think in products with more long-lasting life, more quality, and also we have to think about our life, yes, and caring our body. Yeah. This industry nowadays is very dangerous for our health every day. So natural fibers, they have a lot of virtues, and virtues that are global solutions, yes, and also virtues for everyday life. Now that we have all to be locked down
away, yes.
Yeah. And we see we are in our world, so important in our house, yes, our house is the world now.
Yeah.
And so to have things, I don't know, for me, my carpet made by wool, handmade, and that, of course, it's so long lasting. It has 10 years. It went through my children when we were adolescents, party, and it's perfect. Yeah. So these things that gives us a lot of relation, I think, with nature and welfare, I think is another lifetime that we have to go. And I really think that natural fibers, they have a huge potentiality also to be with technology and with improvement, and to be base of many other things. And also they should be much more part of the industry in many areas, not just in clothing, no?
Yeah.
So I really believe in natural fibers as a force for good. And well, cotton is part of the natural fibers, and it's terrible what we are doing.
Right.
And these camelids also, we have a lot of money. There are rich people around the world all the time. To buy plastic? No. Also, these luxury fibers are the luxury, yes, but should be all integrated in its value chain. So luxury also is a story, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that the brands of the future will tell more stories about their production than empty brands, yes, that they just produce a profit. So I really believe in natural fibers. Well, I love them.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. But yeah, what I was thinking is, you know, bigger brands. I mean, if we say you suggested camelids to a bigger brand to use, I mean, are we in danger of them? You know, they always overdo it. You know, do you believe that like camelids should remain local as something that is localized and special, or do you want bigger brands to maybe adopt that as another fiber? Because, you know, once the bigger brands get hold of it, they think they want to mass produce everything, and then they upset the balance of nature, basically, whenever they get involved, because they want to make things and lots of it.
But I really, well, I see, and we support many projects and cooperatives that work together and go for more intensive care of this animal, yes,
Yeah.
improving, because if we think the camelids, they live alone with no food, no water, no refugee in the highest altitude.
Yeah.
And they have as this fiber is their coats, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
They protect, and they are so beautiful. And so with some cares, yes, they can. This production can be can go for to grow, yes, for more intensive production. The theme is camelids are used by this industry, but I don't want to focus just on camelids,
Yeah,
but use much more than we know, yes, in a bad way, but then is sold as cashmere. So as finally everything is like a hair, yes, and it has a technical characteristics. So as alpaca or llamas are not very well known, the hair is bought in quantities, yes, without no value added, no recognition of the fiber, and then is sold as cashmere. Yeah. So it's part of the industry, but in a hidden way, and also it's by now very bad use all the system. And of course, for example, this happened, what you're mentioning with cashmere, that this industry push, but well.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you don't want to happen. Yeah.
Terrible. But well, we have to go for regenerative methods and to help communities to improve their production, to scale their productions, but in a sustainable way. Everything can be with the laws of nature. Yes, we can grow infinite.
Yeah.
The thing is we are breaking, because the purpose is not the system, it's not the people, and not the resources. The purpose of this system is profit. So everything is responding to big profit, and the other is not pay. It's not paid at all, no paid attention. So I think we have to go for another system where traceability, transparency, and inclusion of these producers are big part of this fashion industry.
Yeah. So I just want to touch on one more thing about artisans. You know, I'm a textile designer. You know, preservation of those techniques is really important to me. You know, how do you think we, you know, I know you've done a high level forum on this. You know, how do you think we can preserve these artisanal techniques that are special to many cultures? You know, they're dying off. You know, is it the government's responsibility to put money into that, or NGOs? No.
I want to reflect, and that's why we have this university at Hechos por Nosotros that is like a critic thought. No sé, it's okay in English because pensamiento crítico, no?
Yeah.
To understand how things are done not correctly, and I think we are the society, although we look so smart, a lot of technology, but we do not think. We are very stupid.
Yeah.
so I think that homemakers, artisans are the second employed worldwide, yes, force of employment. And they are very, aside, let's say, formality, they create medium films, micro films that they are born and disappear according to necessities. And this fragmentation, weakness, and etc. make them be very weak in order to maintain their good practices to care for local solutions, yes, to be part of evolutive processes, because the system holds them fragmented for the different, the other parts of the value chain. And so they lost these communities when they are organized with a little bit of technology, of knowledge in hand of them. They are so productive and they scale their production, their way of producing. I work with communities that create blankets in big scales, yes, and we have been clients at Conran Shop for collections worldwide, where these blankets were made by communities. Took a lot of time and many organizations working with these communities in order also that artisan products can grow in quantity, no, and in quality, and that although handmade is unique, we need like to establish the minimum error, and many times we got this in many products. So there are so many communities around the world, so many people with these capacities, and as soon as you introduce some of the technology inputs and fertilize them, they organize. And so important part of this input are how to work in network, how they can be preparing others in order to respond for bigger orders, and everything happens. The theme is the lack of attention, and I think that regarding your question, governments, I don't want to go to governments because
I you get start. Don't get you started.
No, because governments, they are part of the system. They created this system, so we cannot ask them for solution. We need to go for solution and to demand like the transformation. In this sense, the voice of Hechos por Nosotros at United Nations with leaders and young people inside, talking with them, seeing them. Finally, they are in a post, they have to respond to a lot of pressure. When they got support for something, is impose the same system. So that's why the world is being destroyed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I too. I mean, I do agree with you. Yeah, totally agree. So yeah, I just want to, moving on a little bit. I just wanted to, we sort of touched on artisans, and you touched on technology. But what do you think is the best way for systemic change? I mean, you talked a lot about transparency and traceability. But realistically, most brands are never going to be transparent, as but I said, how do you think, with your brand Animana, you're tackling transparency and traceability? How are you doing that with Nosostros, in your projects?
Well, we are proud about our value chain and how we work. So our only propaganda is to show it.
Yeah.
The market does not, let's say, big brands nowadays do not allocate money in the production area, in their providers, in their value chain, in traceability. Not this fashion exists and grows because of the lack of transparency and traceability. And we can have in one day, if it is a decision, and the decision should come from us, the consumer. And this pressure, yes, and pressure to government, not ask them to make this change. We have to make this change, and the firms will do it. And maybe the actual brands will not be the big players of the future. I think the brands of the futures are brands with a story that creates experiences, and the experience and the relationship with all the value chain will make the brand a trustable and part of the life of consumers. Yeah. Well, this is the dream. I think if we want to survive, we need business around sustainability. And when you go for sustainability in your business, you are proud to show your value chain. You are happy, you are eager, you are doing all the effort to show it, not to hide it. So we work for this, yes, to put small, medium films, artisans in the center, to give them visibility, to create local clusters that can be joined by many designers and brands. And also you see in person. I think we cannot be more like fragmented as a professional and a person. And more is happening this. People are waking up, and they do not want to be part of a system, a firm that they do not share the values. And this happens with young people. So what we are trying at Hechos por Nosotros is give them space in order that they can create business around these principles with communities, with values, and smart business around sustainability. And we can have the welfare society we deserve, and we merit as humans.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I do agree, and that sort of leads me into the next question, which is about technology, because in order to get traceability and transparency, you need to be thinking about technologies. And we've had this conversation about everybody talking about blockchain, everybody talking about Q codes, and 3D. How do you think that's going to work in the future, specifically with your brand Animana or with other brands? How do you feel blockchain can fit in? How does technology fit into the puzzle?
I think all technology serving to good purpose, yes, and causes can be so powerful. And so I think blockchain today is a very interesting tool. The theme is like the system all the time uses everything for advertisement and continue to be the same. So I think that we have to use technology to aware consumers, because consumers, they do not understand what this fashion means, yes, in their life, in their environment. More and more, but also it's very weak. Many of my friends, they tell me that it costs that they really believe the dimension of this industry, how many aspects. We have to think how it's one of the industry with most more value added, yes? Yeah. And at the same time, what happens? All this value added is concentrated among big players that they esconder. They do not show their value chain. Yeah, totally. Yeah. They don't. Yeah. So if we begin asking for this value chain and also caring what we are supporting, well, this process can be very quickly. And I think COVID that is with us, and if it is not COVID, will be others. Sadly, it's like this. The earth is saying us we are not using the resources in the proper way. So we have to listen this message and go for the transformation. And blockchain gives us the opportunity as consumer to know all the story of the clothes, but this should be truly made since the beginning, thinking the producers, the fiber, what impact has in each part of the value chain, and also information. Today, these clothes that are sold should have a sign saying this cloth is killing you, the planet, the people. And yes, if you want to buy it as a happy, buy, okay, do it, but know what know what's happening. We can,
yes, like they could put on cigarettes, the message, you know.
Yes, the message should be there, and then let's see what happens. Yes, and so all these things are the things we have to ask to international agencies at UN, at World Trade Organization, and all of this, because this is our world, our future, and the world we are living to young people. Yes, the fastest. I think that in some years, our children, when they could see how we as consumers act, yes, so responsible, using the resources and the people.
I agree.
I agree. Everything to know it. So we are not, let's say, we are a big part. So, well, we need to use technology to aware consumers and designers and actors and also to create bridges among the industry to be converted so quickly. And maybe this is going to happen soon.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I agree, it's the young people, how we're educated. I always make the analogy with the food industry, how they managed to make everybody eat healthy. They did such a good job. Why can't we do it with the fashion industry, you know? So it becomes, you know, in your interest to say that you're, you know, vegan, to say that you buy clothes, that you don't buy clothes all the time, that you're, you know, responsible as a consumer. I think the same message, if we could get that messaging in to the fashion industry, that's what we need. We need people like you, you know. But yeah, I mean, talking, with transparency and traceability, I feel like it's the key, like you're saying. And again, that sort of, leads me into, you know, that whole idea, that whole thing of educating the consumer, but I guess educating our children and everybody else on, you know, people don't understand what where their clothes come from. You know, they can tell you, you know, where food comes from, but not your clothing. And I know I mean, you can tell us more about the educational tools that we're putting together at Nosostros.
We are very, very enthusiastic in this moment because all this vision of Animana. You want to put the PPT a little bit to talk, or just we can share. What happens if let's say micro, small, medium firms, artisans, they are locally strong and they stop to be part of this system, and at the same time we are creating tools for consumers that when I began with this many years ago to talk around ethical fashion, sustainable fashion, what is that, but now I think is the moment, and COVID brings us this big opportunity. Now people around the world are asking themselves what is happening locally with micro, small, medium firms. It is very on the top now how local weakness of economies are part of all, and here we are all together with the problem now. So together we have to solve it, and sure we can, and we see how many actors are looking. In this moment we are part of Globalizer jointly with IKEA Entrepreneur, and they made a special program for systemic change, and Animana, Hechos por Nosotros, and Trish also. We are part of this in order to scale up and to scale this solution, to share it to so many actors. So what I think the solution is to be strong, not weak as person. Each of us, we can do so many things. We can transform so many lives. We can open roads for an evolutive economy. If we think business around sustainability, we will open another road in humanity. And I think this is the moment. And so we are creating a toolkit that has laboratories. Yes, it is not classes, but are co-learning spaces for designers, main actors in the fashion industry. Here Trish is a leader in this area, and we are creating this with many experts of the fashion industry, designers, economists, anthropologists, sociologists, and together creating tools in order that these actors of the fashion industry can think their profession as a tool for a systemic change, and to think their models of production in circular terms, with sustainability, in contact with communities, with all the value chain. This contact of the designers and actors of the fashion industry with the base of the platform, with the story of the production, it makes them to put in another stage in their profession. So we are creating that tools. We have a long story on capacity building for micro, small, medium firms, a lot of small successful cases that are growing and growing. We are creating a library, and what we see at Hechos por Nosotros is this connection among local projects and professionals. When these merge this information, totally all we are a society in another stage. Local films, they are stronger, they are connected to the market, they are learning, they are they improve, they can think, take time for thinking their problems, and professionals that they have a lot of tools interchanging, they learn a lot, and co-creation is like a wealth for everybody. Yes. Then this toolkit connects different actors locally and worldwide. Yes. And connects micro, small, medium films, creating good local environments in Latin America, in Africa, in Asia, and whenever people want to create a network, we can share knowledge and tools to make it. We have a lot of experience in Latin America, and now also we are going in Africa with many projects with Trish holding and bringing, and so interesting how local people with a lot of skill connecting with their value chain and their problems with another point of view, they can be actors of and local improvement. So this environment alive and share with business people, with professionals, with consumers, I think will help and contribute for a next step. So we create all these 11 years, this environment where UN, World Economic Forum, universities, students, Ashoka, Cordes, CNA Foundation, all small experiences, and now through technology, we are looking for a big platform with intelligence and to share all this environment that can match in itself and can make the capacity in the different areas. And well, we are with environmental practices, with social cultural practices, business all together to create different and well, Animana is a long story of very perseverance, and brought us a lot of experience and knowledge that is a huge asset for Hecho por Nosotros. Well, now this toolkit called Igniting Circular and Sustainable Fashion Through Collaboration is a tool that, well, is going on with the technology we can, but soon will be upgrade in technology. That's why we are in this consultancy with Globalizer Ashoka and many professionals working around the world that are a luxury. And well, another thing to enhance, we have a book that here I show it in Spanish, but in few weeks will be in English, and we are working on the translation. It is in Portuguese, in Spanish. It has a lot of this way of working, of co-creating, of artisans, or on interaction among academics, professionals, designers, and local communities. Artisans are a big part of our core and the book, but also talking regarding themes as recycling in the fashion industry, as solving social issues, yes, through the fashion. And so it's very interesting. Well, and for me,
Adriana, so thank you so much for all of the explanation on the books and such, but we need to wrap this up here. And we did get a question in from Carla about some of the sustainability tools, but I think the best way that we can address this is to put some of these resources on Inside Fashion Design. And for anybody that wants to have additional information and a way to connect with you, all of that will be posted through Inside Fashion Design. And feel free to look at it in terms of the resources that can be offered through those channels. So I think that might be the best way for us to put everyone in contact with you, and how we can share some of the information about the books and some of the initiatives. So thanks to all of our attendees today, and thanks to Adriana and Trish for a wonderful discussion today. And we will be moving to our next section. So stay tuned, and we'll see everybody very quickly.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Trish. We'll see you on the
Thank
next
you.
one.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim, Trish.
Bye.
Well.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.